Welcome back to the Jonesboro Open. We are heading to the back nine of the lead card of FPO, and we're here at Disc Side of Heaven. I'm Andi Young, the disc golf consultant, and I'm here with Sarah Hokom.
Hey everybody, we're going to give you a nice little preview of this back nine. So far, we have Paige out in front with a -10. Kat stumbled a little bit in that front nine and is at a +4. Myself and Jen are sitting at +1. And unbeknownst to most of us on this lead card, we have Madison Walker from the second card is now at even and sitting in second place. So we shall see how this pretty much race for second unfolds.
Sometimes being on that second card is very relaxing and not knowing what's going on ahead of you, and you just play your game. And all of a sudden, look what happens.
Yeah, she's played pretty solid. She's -2 for the round right now.
So here we are. This is hole 10.
It's a pretty difficult hole to get to. It really sets up for a sidearm. We can see Jen puts it into pin high, but she's in the rough.
Yep, it does look like it kind of plays a little bit right to left out there.
I flex this a little too far and put myself in a really nasty position. You really want to get behind this hole to have a really good birdie opportunity at it. It's elevated, plus it has a death putt if you're short. So we see a lot of players laying this up if they're not inside the circle. And so far, Jen is the only one to get a putt look at it.
And coming in there, that sticks nicely for her. She's
We also
nice
see
open
her.
look at it.
We also see her outside the circle though, so she's probably going to lay this up.
There you go.
Yeah, it was kind of that was a tough out. See Kat kind of laying it up. And Paige with a really comfortable lead, does not need to take any risks and puts it right under the bucket.
Let's play a conservative game at this point.
Jen just misses
out.
that putt. She's the only one that even had a look at this one today for birdie.
Wow, nice try though.
This is a really tough hole. And I'm looking to convert my par. And
just a little short.
Once again, I'm not making putts today.
Putting struggles going on. Looks like we got a little wind this back 9 holes.
The wind is really variable out here on these hills of Jonesboro, Arkansas. So day to day, it's going to play differently. And you have to adjust your shot depending on whether you've got, which kind of crosswind, what kind of, and the elevation.
And what you might be doing on the tee might not be what you're doing on the approach shot too.
Yeah, the wind does change up the fairway drastically. So I get the bogey there and not much change overall.
Here we are, par 4, 560 feet.
This one, you want to get it pretty straight. You might be able to take a risk and try to get around the corner, but you risk the left side that is really tight and can leave you scrambling to get up and down.
With that little ridge right in front of you, it almost looks like the fairway plays a little bit blind.
It sure does. It's a ridge and then it goes downhill. So, it's a really tough angle control here. We see Jen came up a little short on her hyzer. Yesterday, she had pumped it all the way out into the fairway. I'm trying to flex this one up to the middle of the fairway. And it kind of turns a little left on me. Jen's throwing a big turnover here, and unfortunately, she saw it a little early, and she's in the woods over there, which are really tough. Kat throws that sidearm. She's been throwing it really well this tournament. Just kind of hits those hay bales. And Paige also opts for the sidearm, and is just on the edge of the rough on the right side of the green. We'll see if she can convert that putt.
That is a tricky upshot, having to S yourself in there.
It's really placed to the sidearm, slightly uphill green. But those trees on the right side kind of come out quicker than you think, and they can really grab your disc and throw you into a terrible position. And it's really rough in there. It's they're viney thorns. And the approach plays a little longer than you think. It's like visually. So it's easy to end up early right. As you can see, actually 3 out of 4 of the players did.
And then when they do play uphill long that way, that slide uphill, it always plays longer than it looks.
Uncharacteristic air ball there for Paige. She kind of relines that up, but no problem on the comebacker.
Making sure. And there you go, Kat.
This plate is the third most difficult hole on the course today, averaging half stroke or more above par.
And that winding fairway, yeah, I could see how that upshot, people could get in trouble with that.
Yeah,
upshot
only
pretty
one
easily.
birdie in the whole tournament or the whole field today, and 2/3 of the players bogeyed it. So
Split the field on that one.
this next hole 12, we're seeing a big pump over some OB. Some people will lay up. Today, we don't see too many people laying up. The conditions are more favorable, and Paige pumps it all the way up to the top of the hill.
Nice throw.
Huge shot. For me, I'm hoping to just get it over the OB and give myself position to get the birdie, and I just barely clear it.
So it looks
I'm happy with that.
That OB line sits out there, what, about 375?
I think you got to throw about 330 to clear the OB. And Jen, as her characteristic, pumps it way out there, gets about halfway up the hill.
Oh, nice pullover. Let that thing bend out. Oh, nice little air bounce and good shot.
Now we're all in position to go for a birdie. I'm throwing the sidearm hyzer with Patriot here. Comes up a little short and down the hill. Leaves me at circle 2. See, Jen throws a really nice turnover here. Leaves herself right at circle's edge. Little putt. Now this green is really tricky. You can't really see the elevation as much here, but it is really far downhill. If you miss a putt in these conditions on this hillside, it is likely to roll 60 feet away. You see Paige even just has kind of an easy little layup here. She's laying it up to the top side of the hill. Yep. And here, I have a pretty safe putt here just because I'm putting uphill. So I'm trying to make it, but again, doesn't fall. See if Jen can convert her birdie, and she does.
Nice putt. Solid.
And same with Kat. We're going to see a whole bunch of birdies on actually a really tough hole out there.
Looks like Paige is putting with those bursty little deputy. Is that what she's putting with these days?
Sounds right.
I think so.
Maybe people can correct us in the comments if they know. And all 3 of the birdies in the entire field came from the lead card. So they're really, minus my own play, the other 3 girls are really putting on a show on this hole. So we're going to see Jen grabs a birdie, Kat grabs a birdie, Paige grabs a birdie. But Paige still has a commanding lead, and Madison is still going strong at even in second place that we don't know about yet.
Like it came up a little bit short for her.
This is a pretty far uphill, and if you let it turn over at all, it's going to end up in these trees on the right. So you really it's got to be a pure hyzer up the hill. One of the rare backhands that I actually throw off the tee.
Yeah, nice shot there.
Everybody's kind of getting themselves a little look, but nobody's parking it. I mean, for being only 255, we kind of expect that somebody will be close.
Looks like it plays a little bit longer than it looks.
Yeah, I would say it's probably playing more like 290. Paige got a long look, just short. She's half laying up on a lot of these.
Yeah, at this point.
She really doesn't need to test any side hills. Really, the race is between the 3 or 4 of us trying to get that second place. Oh, and unfortunately, nobody converts the birdie here. And actually, this hole, for whatever reason today, the wind must have been. As you can see, it's kind of a
Looks like it was a bit of a
headwind. Yep. And nobody in the entire field got this birdie today.
So everybody just takes their par and
yeah, moving on.
To the next hole.
So after 13, again, we're kind of seeing Kat's got a little bit more work to do. Jen and I are tied at 1 over, and Madison is still playing strong, hitting some pars and is in second place. This is a huge tee shot. You really have to throw almost 400 feet to clear that OB. So some people will lay up, a lot of people will lay up, but Paige, and you'll probably see Jen, you might see Kat kind of going for this shot.
Paige might have caught some branches there off the tee box.
She did, but she actually got all the way through.
There's a nice arcing shot there.
Jen throws just a monster. She's hoping that it stops here, but it kind of trickles left behind these bushes that are just at the edge of the circle. So it'll give her a tough look at that eagle on this par 4. Kat lays it up, which she has most of the rounds. Even though I think she does have the distance, she also has a good control on her upshots.
Sometimes placement is the way to go.
So you can still get the birdie even if you lay up, and that's the way I'm playing it as well. So here we're throwing about a 250, 275 shot up into kind of a tight green.
Oh, that was a nice shot, though. Looks like she got around that bushy stuff on the left, and she'll have a putt.
She'll have a really good look. And I'm kind of hyzering out, but I'm happy with this. This gives me a putt inside the circle that's very birdieable. This is for Jen's eagle. Oh, she wants this, but she just can't get around those bushes.
So she'll settle for the birdie.
And also Paige for her eagle. She's got a tough up and catches a tree at the end there, but she is very inside her range of comfort off that putt. This was an awkward stance here.
Yeah, appears to be.
And we'll see if Paige can convert this birdie. And she does, as per usual here. And Kat also trying to convert the birdie, but we'll have to settle for par.
That basket looks pretty high up there.
It's pretty high, and the backside dips down a bit. So if you do miss metal, you could possibly be kind of far away. This is a pretty fun hole. It's nice that some of our longer throwers have eagle opportunities, but you can also still lay up and have a chance for the birdie.
So it makes a nice score separator.
It's yeah, and then it plays. You have to play to your specific strengths. This is about 270, slightly uphill, back righty backhand hyzer. Plays as a fairly easy hole for the women.
Again, slightly uphill, so it probably plays a little bit longer than it sounds. There you go.
This was one of the easiest holes we play all weekend. Several birdies, including a birdie by Madison on this hole.
It's nice to see her getting back into a high level of competition after her injuries.
She has certainly recovered well. It's great to see her back up there on the lead card. I turned this over a little bit, but I have a little expectations for my backhand. Yeah, a little upshot, and I'm going to tap out. We'll see if these ladies can convert their birdie putts.
A little bit high.
But not going to matter. It stayed right there.
And that doesn't always happen. At least she hit something.
And we'll see if Jen can convert this one. She's gotten this both the first 2 rounds. And this would be her second birdie in a row right now. So she's making a little push. And she does.
There you go. Good putt.
And
Nice
Kat
and confident.
trying to catch another stroke here to catch closer to second, and she certainly
She
does.
steps right up there. Didn't
She
even
has
think
really
about that.
recovered well after that start.
Where was that earlier?
Yeah. So we're gonna see Paige and I tap those in, and yeah. Taking a second look, make sure that stayed in. She doesn't get a lot of spit outs, but when they happen, it can be kind of heartbreaking.
And that's the end of hole 15. And moving on, you see the field is still got Paige way out there, but the rest of the field is very tight.
And Madison is there for second place also with Jen. So this is a very placement heavy shot. It's a pretty simple sidearm off the tee. You're going to see Kat throwing it. I'll throw it. You saw Jen take the backhand hyzer. You really want to land down the hill to the right of that big tree you see right there. And she thinks she stayed. She's pretty happy with that. Paige, she threw a sidearm off this hole last year also. And we'll see if she can put it in position to get across the water on the second shot. And she kind of warm burns it a little bit.
She'll have an interesting second shot then.
Yeah, and thankfully she's got a couple strokes to spare here.
Just a few.
And I'm pretty happy with my shot. Ends up a little right, but down that hill you can't really predict too much on how the roll is going to happen. So Paige wants to go over the lake here, but her caddy talks her into laying up, which she does. She's looking for a big line over the water, but they're so blocked by those big old growth trees. And Kat's lining up a big hyzer to get across.
Yeah. Push that hyzer. Nice, girl. Good shot.
Which she does execute, I believe. I couldn't quite see.
Look at that. That's a beautiful picture.
Paige just crushes the standstill.
Yep.
And I'm kind of stuck there too, having to throw a standstill. I'm hoping this will get across.
That's a challenging shot right there.
But it
looks like you got it.
did have enough oomph to give me a putt at the birdie. You see Jen also having to throw a standstill. That branch in front of her kind of blocked her, and she's right there. Throws a great shot. Kat giving a little run, but can't convert the birdie. That was Paige's par putt right there.
Yep.
And
There
Jen
you go.
gets another birdie.
Nice one too.
That is now her third in a row. She is really pushing here, trying to secure that second place spot. And again, one of my putt is not dropping today, and another day. Sometimes
Yeah.
you throw them
There
up there
is
and they
gonna
don't
be
go in.
another day.
Sometimes they do.
Headwind on those little putts sometimes can make you think.
Oh yeah, and a little downhill. I always take my time. So after this hole, we're seeing Paige just, she has a bogey here, but it's not hurting her. She's still got a huge lead. She's 11 down. But now with that birdie by Jen, she is now at 2 under par and is now 2 strokes ahead of Madison, who is at even, who bogeyed that hole on the second card. So Jen's got a little lead going into these last 2 holes.
She pulls that around to the right. Over the ridge and down.
Yeah, and this is really a tough backhand to turn the corner and get down the hill. It's really set up for a sidearm tee shot. And you really just want to throw it straight if you're throwing that backhand to give yourself a chance to throw your second shot down that hill.
See what Paige has got on this one.
Paige also trying to throw it just straight, but catches that headwind and it turns it over into the woods. So both her and Kat are trying to play off that right side.
Well, for what that was, that looked
Yeah.
like a pretty good out.
It was a really good out. Those woods are thick, and you'll see Paige kind of gets about halfway through the woods there.
Yep.
Jen is also in the woods.
Nice
It was a
little
great little
out into the
roller.
open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit tough downhill, sloping away from the sidearm. And like it does
Oh.
every round for me this tournament, it hyders out to the right. I really need to just throw the backhand
Yeah.
approach there.
It started out.
I got to
nicely,
concede
but
to it.
Yeah.
And we see Kat throwing a hyzer down there, giving herself a look to save her par.
That's in the circle.
This is a nice little layup to save her par, Jen's par. Paige is still fighting through the woods, manages to get out. Now I'm kind of putting from just inside the circle. I got some obstructions. I have to putt over a limb, which I do, but it still doesn't fall. Once again, Jen converting her par
Again.
putt
Isn't that another birdie?
to stay at -2.
other
No, this
par?
is to her par,
Yeah.
yeah. So she is maintaining. Meanwhile, Madison actually bogeys this hole. So she has extended her lead over Madison to 3 strokes. We'll see if Paige can convert this putt for bogey. And she does. She struggled in the woods there, but again, she's got a few to spare. She's still at
she's got a little bit of wiggle room.
yeah, she's still 10 down. And Kat also converting her par putt after scrambling from the woods does a great job. She's found her stroke here towards the end. Maybe a little late, but she kept a great attitude even throughout the struggles.
That's all part of it.
Yeah.
Gotta leave the bad ones at the hole.
So here we are going into the final hole. And we have Jen. We have, of course, Paige in the lead with a -10. And now we have Jen at -2. And we have Sarah and myself and Madison trying to catch Jen. But that's a big lead. But Jen unfortunately saws it off a little bit early. It goes left and out of bounds over this left fence
the door open.
into some deep woods. We'll see if Kat can throw her tee shot, which she also pulls it right. She's actually aiming down that center, and she pulled it 20 degrees. She's not happy with that. And it actually goes out of bounds in this weird out of bounds on the right side. This tee shot is just really gnarly. It's very tight. It's downhill, extreme downhill. And the landing zone, even though it's big, it's hard to get there.
You have to navigate that opening.
With OB on the left for the backhand, it really plays tough down that hill to flip it up down the hill and keep it going straight at that kind of elevation.
Looks like you had some success on
I
it.
got a little lucky there. It hits my shot, if it hits the trees, it'll just drop or hyzer out to the right. Paige is also going to be hitting that middle gap, which she does pretty well.
Oh, there.
Slight turn.
Nice shot. Bending down out
In
there
Paige
into the
style.
openness.
So Jen has to pitch out here. She has a really no look. So now she's throwing 4.
You get to
And
this
she
part in the
kind of worm
tournament.
burns it here.
Your heart is
She wants to get all the way
racing.
up to those double trees. And Kat here, she's throwing a difficult turnover, trying to get up into the intended fairway, also throwing her 3rd shot. I'm trying to get it up into the left side to give myself a shot at the birdie.
And at this point, you guys really don't know what Madison is doing at all.
No, we don't. We know that we don't know that she's in the hunt unless you're looking at the scores. And we definitely don't know what she did on 18. So I'm tied with her, and I don't know how whether she has what has happened. So I'm trying to get this birdie. Jen just barely throws it a little bit early and gets caught.
It's quite a finishing hole.
It sure is. It actually plays as the hardest hole on the course. So it's just begging for some end of the round drama, which it certainly gives us, especially with that tee shot and then getting around this whole center area of trees. Plus, the green is sloped with OB walls around it. I play a bit of a conservative shot here to make sure I stay in bounds and try to give myself a look, which I did.
Yep.
Paige now throwing her 3rd shot all the way up to the green. giving herself a nice little
skip.
putt to get the birdie. Jen now throwing 6, trying to get it all the way up there. Looks like she laid it pretty close. She's still got to convert the putt. Kat trying to recover from that OB and pulls it right again and throws OB. She just wants this round to end. Throws her next shot up by the pin. This is a 45-footer to try to make a move here at the very end. And I just missed it. And Paige to get her birdie. Turns out she doesn't need it.
Little tiny tournament roll there. Walk up, put it in.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing.
And here we can see Jen with a fairly short putt. So she threw a great approach, converts the putt.
Tough final hole, though.
Tough final hole. She's going
she
to
was
end up
playing.
double bogeying the hole. And Kat with the triple bogey, which actually puts Jen in a tie for second place with Madison, who birdies the final hole.
Taking an 8 on that last hole. Wow. Well, that was some drama for sure.
I'm the Disc Golf Guy, and that was my video blog. I've caught up with our now 2-time champion here at the Jonesboro Open, presented by Prodiscus, Paige Pierce. Paige, what a crazy weekend.
Yeah.
And fair to say, nothing at all like last year's weekend over here?
Oh, not at all. Last year we were sweating, worried about ticks. This year we're trying to keep our bones from shivering and stay dry from the snow. Yeah.
It was a little bit crazy. You opened with a phenomenal round that gave you some cushion. How did it feel during these last 2 rounds when you came in and you were battling it out?
Honestly, the second round, I didn't even think about scores on any given hole. I was just trying to get through the hole quicker, which in turn was in score, but I was just more focused on maintaining and just getting off the course, really. I mean, we were all just, you know, we had never played in anything like that, and so we just wanted to get off the course.
Well, there was a question as if everyone had enough equipment. Did you have to run out and get anything in particular?
Actually, it was awesome. The TD Brad supplied us with hot hands on hole 1. On hole 10, there was a bunch of towels. So luckily, had everything I really needed. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a great weekend here in Jonesboro. We're through 3 stops for the Disc Golf Pro Tour. You're now the 2-time Jonesboro Open champion. I want to thank all the sponsors of the tour, as well as Dynamic Disc, who is helping support the women's vlog coverage throughout this entire weekend. So thank you to everyone over at Dynamic Disc. You got any final shout outs you need to give?
Yeah, I mean, obviously to you guys for always supporting the women's disc golf. It's getting bigger and bigger.
Texas
and,
rock!
and more prevalent, so it's great to see that. And just to my sponsors, Dynamic, Hum, Keen Footwear, Whale Sacks, and D-Curve.
All right. That's Paige Pierce. We'll catch you guys at the next stop.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you, Andi. That was fun, and thanks for supporting the women's coverage by watching and viewing and sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sarah. It was a pleasure.